Good evening, everyone. Today I'm honored to stand before you guys as President of Youth and Sports for the Commission of Burundi, Diaspora Burundis. I am proud, I am honored to see the progress that we are making as one. And if you guys are noticing, there is a theme that everyone who have spoken today continue to say: unity. Kuba turi kumwe, gufatana mu mugongo. That's a theme that is important, and a theme that is not planned. And quite frankly, a theme that I had in my speech, but I'm so happy that everyone is noticing that. Gira tuze hamwe nk'abarundi, dukunda Burundi, tugakundana. As we celebrate today, it's a moment for us to share our history. As many of you guys have heard, experiences, things we have learned over time. Earlier, the MC asked who was alive during the time of our national heroes were alive. Obviously, as you can tell, I was not. But when we talk about history, oftentimes us youth and young adults, we feel disconnected. But I want to tell you, when we speak about history, sometimes when you put things into context, it is not so far off. And I'll put a number to it. Prince Rwagasore, when he was assassinated, he was around my age. When you put years of when somebody's born and when they die, it seems so far off, but when you put context to it, at the age of a person, it's shocking. Kwa nabonye mu maso mwese igihe bavuga imyaka yari afise, mwatangaye. Naje igihe imyaka nayumvise igihe yapfa, naratangaye. Mvuga, iyo ni imyaka y'umuyanje. Yo mfise. It brings goosebumps. Do you understand? To have somebody who's a national hero, who made an impact, who was the age that I am today. In 2 weeks, I turned 29. That's the age he was killed. You can be in your 20s and be doing very impactful things, both in your own life, in your own community, and at a global stage. And I say that because I want our youth to understand that while a lot of the history we're talking about today is so far out from the time when we were born, during the time and the age, a lot of these national heroes were making changes and fighting for unity, fighting for change. They were around our age. And when we put that into context, I feel like it's more relatable to understand that you can be young, but still be impactful. And as we look ahead, we talked a lot about our history. And as we look ahead, I want us to also talk about the future. Because in unity is the foundation of which we are going to build our nation. Americans like to say, united we stand, divided we fall. And that is true. A community, a country, and people cannot progress without unity. Muvyemere, muvyanke, that's a fact. We have seen it. A lot of you guys have lived it. But as I'm talking to my youth, I want us to be a symbol of change, a symbol of unity. When we walk, I want us to walk proudly, because somebody that spoke earlier talked about self-worth and loving ourselves. It starts within us. It starts within us. And then we go outwardly in our community and pass that love of being a Burundian and the love that we have for our country to be able to spread it to our community. To then go out and spread it as we're in 2024 online. So that way we can spread the message of what it truly means to be Burundian, of what it truly means to be a country with a horrific past, but we do not let it define us. But the only way for us to do that is to love ourselves first, to value ourselves first, to value our culture, our heritage, and don't be silent. Be proud. Iyo umuntu avuze uri Umurundi, vyemere. Hagarara ukavyemera ukavuga ego ndi Umurundi. Umuntu akubajije Burundi burihe. Don't feel ashamed that a lot of people might not know where Burundi is on the map. That's an opportunity for us to educate. A lot of us youth, we have that term, put Burundi on the map. That's a way to put Burundi on the map. Educating people of where Burundi is. Because when we talk about 2040, 2060, I don't want to tell somebody that I'm Burundian and they're talking about, where's that at? I want them to know where that is at on the map. For themselves, it's, oh, wow, I know where that's at. You guys, X, Y, and Z. Because I want us to start shining, to start having accomplishments. But again, that starts with us doing what? Being united. Being proud of ourselves, of who we are. And yes, while our history might not be beautiful, it is part of our history, and it's history for what? A reason. In order to not repeat history, you have to know history. You have to study history so you don't repeat it. You guys understand what I'm saying? It's not beautiful, but we have to know our history so that way we don't repeat it. As we look ahead, right, and as many of you guys have said, 2040, 2060, right? I was sitting next to my mom and I said, wow, 2040, I'm gonna be around your age. I'm like, hey, and I didn't say that in a bad way. It's in a good way. Mama so, it's good. But as, I look into 2040, I will be, 45. And as a mother as well, it's a two-part. As a young adult, what do I want to see? But as well as a mother, what do I want to see, right? Because the Burundi we have today and the community we have today is not one that I was born into. We have made progress. And I think it's important that we recognize that. But as we talk about the future and where we're heading, I want us to do something that I think two people have mentioned. Talk less, work more. Ibikorwa dukeneye kubibona, amajambo twarayagize. It's time for us to work united for that vision to come true. And it's beautiful for me to look out and see that all age groups are represented, because in order for that unity to work, all ages have to be represented. And all ages have a gift and a talent that they can share in order for that vision and that progress to happen. We were honored today with somebody who was alive during the time, the history that we talked about, who lived it, who saw it. For me, as somebody who is young, it's powerful. It's one thing to read in a book or online history, but it's another to hear it from first hand. You cannot beat first-hand storytelling and somebody telling you their personal experience. And I want us to clap for him because that's powerful. And on that, I also want to encourage our elders to continue telling your stories because we want to hear them. In America, they have a saying that elders telling the story helps the heritage and the culture to be carried on. Because there's many things that we will never get to read in books. So elders, tell us your stories so we can carry those stories with us once you're no longer with us. I know none of us ever want to think about the future where you might not be in the photo. But unfortunately, that's the reality of life. And us young people, the youth, want to be able to carry those stories ahead and be able to tell our young ones. So in order to be proud Burundian, you also have to be proud in sharing your story. And I challenge you, sit down with your kids, share a story or two here and there. Because I did an interview in Burundi, and one of the questions they asked was, "Nikwereke abajane bataza ino cyane, nikwereke umengo abajane batakunda Burundi." And I told them, it's not that I don't think that they don't love Burundi. It's just there's so much that there is to be learned. And it's through our elders in this community can that be shared. Because when you share your love for yourself and your country, then the youth and the young generation will have no option but to love it too. And as we look ahead, I also want to say this. As we talked about the history, I also want to share that we have it in our hands to write our own narrative. As we move ahead, history does not need to define us. But if we allow it to, it will. We hold the pen. So as you move ahead, think about it. When in 2040, 2060, when we look back to this day, what did you use your pen to write? What impact have you made? Both in your own life, in the community that you live in and are sitting in, but as well as our beautiful country of Burundi. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it's about what impact did you leave behind? And I would love for every single one of us, when we look back, that the pen we write will have a theme of unity, of love, of value, of self-worth. Because when we have those things as Burundians, can no one stop us. Not from progressing the local communities we live in, and as well as promoting our beautiful country of Burundi. Because in order to progress Burundi, you also have to progress the local community that you live in. It starts at home. Bitangura muhira. Bitangura mu rugo rwacu. So I beg you to take a pause from with that pen and self-evaluate. What do I want our Burundian story to be moving forward? We have our history, but what have we learned? What are we going to do with what we learned? Because I'm going to repeat it again. United we stand, divided we fall. Burundi Day is about being united. Burundi Day is about remembering and talking about where we came from, but also where we're heading. And celebrate who we are as proud Burundians. And I want that word to be capitalized, proud. It's one thing to be Burundian, it's another thing to be proud. Because when somebody is proud to be Burundian, you can see it in the way they talk, the way they walk, and the way they represent our people. Urumva. So munakubajije uri Murundi. Hagarara. Umutwe ushire hejuru uvuge ego ndu Murundi. And that's not just for the youth. That's also for our elders. Because as we look ahead for future Burundi Day, that's what I want to see. Unity, proudness, and for us to continue to talk about where we're heading as one, because Diaspora Ndundi is about unity. It's simply the fact what? We are united as Burundians. Forget the other factors, that you are Burundians. Nothing else. So as a proud Burundian, this is a day for you to come out and be your fellow Burundians and really celebrate. And as we look ahead and plan for future Burundi Day, that is what I want you guys to keep in mind. It's a day to be united. The simple fact that what? We're Burundians. And to my youth, I challenge you to rise up and stand up and be part of change. Be part of impact. Because yes, while we are the future, we are also the present. And we are helping create and shape the future. And for the elders, I challenge you to think about, what do you want the future generations to go back to Burundi to? And whatever your heart desires, help make that change. Be part of that impact. It's time to work. The talking is done. Thank you.